All right, hello, welcome everybody. This is Mark Soberman with NetPicks. Thanks for joining us here today with our latest author interview. We'll be getting going here in just a couple minutes. I'm going to probably have to apologize up front. I've been under the weather and been whining about it for about a week, so my voice is starting to get, it goes out on occasion. But the good news is we're joined by Adrienne, and now my attempt to say her last name, Toghraie. Did I say that right, or did I mess up?
No, you did it perfectly.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I've been practicing all morning. Got it right. And I'll be interviewing Adrienne. You will have the opportunity to ask questions. You guys can type, as you know, you've been to these. You can type those in any time. We'll save them for the last portion of the interview, and I'll just kind of read them off to Adrienne, and she'll do her best to answer those for you. As you can see on your screen, her latest book is Trading on Target: How to Cultivate a Winner's State of Mind, and you can, of course, get this at all the usual places, Amazon.com for sure, available there. It's got over 16 reviews, 5 stars. You don't see that very often. And let me tell you, having gone through the book, very high recommendation, because what you're going to read here, it's not a lot of theory, it's not a lot of, sometimes you read some of these types of books and they're almost like you're reading a college, psychology book. In this case, clearly Adrienne has worked with, hundreds, if not more, of traders over the year, and it definitely reads that way. So really hard-hitting advice in the book. So Adrienne, thanks very much for joining us today. Maybe a good way to start off, just say hello to everybody and give us a little bit of your background, and then I've got a whole bunch of questions just to fire off at you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. And
what would you say in working with all the traders over the years, are there certain personality types or characteristics of a person that really, when you've come across, like, gosh, people who are, this way or have this personality have the highest chance for success? I mean, is there something you've run into that's fairly universal?
Well, I come up with a list over a period of time, and let me see how much I could go over in my mind over that list. But that list has like 70 qualities. One, you have to love trading. You have to have this passion for trading, because if not, you're not going to get through the hard times. You have to be a self-starter, and you have to be able to feel like you can rely on yourself, even though you can have other people assisting you along the way, and that's usually a good idea to have a mentor. Ultimately, you need to make the choices on your own. A long time ago, I used to listen to this psychologist online in California, and I actually was on the radio, and what I would do is turn her, before she'd give an answer, I'd turn it down and I would come up with the answer. And I think that's what people have to do in trading. They have to come up with their own answer before they hear their mentor's answer, and this way they can realize that, hey, this answer is coming from me, and I'm getting a verification of it now. They have to be rational in their thinking. They have to be optimistic. They have to believe that they can do it, and that belief has to come from something that's substantial, like a business plan, and having a strategy that they've tested. They have to be flexible, because the markets change. They change over a period of time. They have to be organized. They have to, as far as organization is concerned, you have to have a desk that is pristine of anything that has nothing to do with trading. Take it off your desk and put it someplace else, because that will take away your focus. Put it in another room, and then clean that room out, because you want your mind to be clear of the things around you that have nothing to do with trading. You have to be an entrepreneurial person, even if you are working for someone else in trading. You have to think like an entrepreneur, and you have to be committed and dedicated to be in it for the long haul. Some people feel that it's important to be analytical, but I think the combination of being analytical and creative are the best combination, because ultimately that's what makes what I call the master trader. You have to be patient, and the overall picture is you have to be self-disciplined. I can go on with some of these things. You have to be resourceful. and enterprising and persistent, consistent. Trying to pull out of my head all the other stuff. You have to be able to create a mental state control. I think that's enough for now.
Sure. Well, I mean, obviously the message there is, there are a number of characteristics. I mean, I think the good news there is a lot of those things it sounds like can be learned, but I guess I know one thing right away when you talked about the desk, you would not be happy with the way my desk looks. So maybe I can have every other characteristic except I can have a sloppy desk and still make it. Let's hope that's the case, because if not, I'm in trouble.
It's a question of how successful you want to be. If you're very successful with what you're doing right now, can you imagine how successful you would be if you had an organized desk? And
all right, I'm cleaning it right now. That's it. I'm straightening up as we do this interview. I'm going to be straightening this desk up for sure. So I do have a second desk. I guess when I trade, I actually am on a treadmill. So I'm going to say that desk is pretty clean. This desk, not so much. So let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Maybe first is a yes, no, and then maybe just sort of, tell me why you think that way. Are there some people who really just should not trade? I mean, have you encountered certain types of people along the way? They're like, wow, I mean, I'll coach this person, but maybe there's just no chance.
Well, I have a trader's evaluation that's part of my Trading on Target course that you can see online. And in this evaluation, I can find out if people are really ready to trade. If someone comes to me and I see that they have an evaluation that's horrible. I mean, their background is against any kind of self-discipline. They've got a lot of emotional problems and all of this. And then I ask them how much money do they have to trade with, and they say $2,000. They're not going to last very long in this, and their $2,000 happens to be their savings account, the money for their children's education and their vacation money. But if someone comes to me and they say, they have the same type of issues, and they have $200,000-$300,000, and I said, well, it's going to take you a while, and if you have the passion for it, we can get over a lot of these issues. But at this point in time, I don't want you to invest in a lot of money into the trading part of it until we clear up some of the psychological parts. But as of right now, I do not recommend you to be a trader or you to think about doing anything. I would say 1 out of every 10 people, I tell them not to trade. I say that this is not a business for them. I have to hear it in their voice. I have to hear their passion, their excitement, their commitment. And if they don't have that, if they say, well, I'm here to make money, I'm here because I lost my job and this is the only thing I can do. And if they start talking like that and they've got a whole bunch of psychological issues, this is not the right place to find yourself. Now, as I said, if you have a lot of resources behind you, if you have a steady stream of income and you have the time and you're willing to overcome those issues, yes, you can overcome those issues. But even with saying that, there are some people that I will say, no, you shouldn't be a trader because the issues are too much. And then I listen to them and they say, I will do whatever it takes. And if I hear that coming back at me, I know that I should change my tune. But if I hear, well, maybe you're right, maybe it's not for me, then I really know that it's not for them. But if they put up an argument that is compelling, they can change my mind. But most of the time, when I say something like that, a person is not ready for it. They really shouldn't be doing it. So the answer to your question is yes, there are people that really shouldn't be trading, and but I've seen people overcome enormous odds and still have made it because their passion was so great that they could overcome anything. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, there's definitely some people who, they're awful traders in the beginning, me included. But there's other things that line up that, make the difference. The people that I always concern myself with, and I guess the people listening, you're in this category. I personally think you need to make a huge mind shift. We have a lot of people that come to us and say, I need to make $1,000 a day. And they're looking for that consistent return every single day out of the market, like it's a, they're clocking in like it's a paycheck. And I know my personal results and everybody we deal with, our results are all over the map day to day. So you've got that issue. Then you've got the other person who's got, like you mentioned, the $2,000 or the $3,000, and they go, I want to make $10,000 a month. And that becomes their expectation and their benchmark. And I know that they're pretty much doomed for failure no matter what, because some things are just, not possible. So I would agree that you can definitely get a lot of people up and over the hump, but there's definitely certain types of people that it's going to be much, much tougher. You did have a chapter on the defensive traitor, and I can say personally that's actually one of my least favorite type of person or people to work with. They don't tend to listen. They're extremely pessimistic. They're always rolling their eyes. They cross their arms. You tell them that 65% winners are good. They tell you you're crazy, that you should be able to win 80% of the time. They get very defensive. They're the types of people that blame, the system, the rules, the broker. How often, if somebody's really defensive that way, have you been able to get somebody, I guess, converted to have them see the light, or is it just really hard to deal with that type of personality?
Well, with that type of personality, you have to give it back to them the way they give it to you. If any brokers are listening, I'm sorry for saying this, but this is very true. I have found that a lot of people who are brokers, who are actually salesmen, they don't know that much about trading, when they try to convert from being a salesman to being a trader, very often they get very defensive about that transition. I remember one particular one, and he has turned out to be extremely successful and one of my best friends. But he was a broker, and he was on television giving advice about stocks, and he's actually written several books. I'm not going to tell you his name. And when he came to me, he was very very snooty, very uptight, like, what the heck can you do for me? And I said, I could do absolutely nothing for you. I don't want to do anything for you. I think you should go someplace else. You're just too good for me. And then that pissed him off. And of course he said, okay, yeah, I'll buy your stuff. And I said, I don't want you to buy my stuff because you won't appreciate it. And I want people to appreciate my stuff. So he bought it anyway. And then when he got it, I called him and I said, did you fill out the evaluation? Because I hadn't. He said, no, the box is on my desk. I haven't done anything with it. So I said, while we're on the phone, I want you to open the box right now. See, the problem was he didn't want to get evaluated because he didn't want me to tell him what the problems were. The one thing that he didn't want to do is he didn't want to be dishonest with himself. So I stood on the phone with him while he opened up the package and he got the evaluation. And then I said, I will not work with you anymore in any way, shape, or form, and I don't want you to contact me at all and send the package back if you don't have the evaluation finished today and in the fax machine to me. And he did it. But that's the kind of thing that you have to work with, do when you work with these type of people. They give it to you, you've got to give it back to them. I prefer not working with these type of people. I turn them off as much as I possibly can, but it's those that stick to it that eventually turn my thinking around. And in his particular case, he did, and he is one of the top traders in the world right now. And we often laugh about our beginnings together and how defensive he was.
So if you're a defensive trader out there, the message here definitely there's hope for you. You can turn that around, but I think you've got to be very open-minded. When you come to your trading education. We run into maybe another type of personality a lot, sort of that engineering mindset, which I think make amazing system developers. But I think where sometimes that engineering mindset runs into trouble also is maybe kind of back to that perfectionist approach to trading, or always wanting to have the exact, action at every moment in time, and they sort of expect their trading system to have, every single thing figured out in advance, and there never to be any kind of, instinct or any type of judgment call, that you have to make. I mean, again, is that a kind of person you've run into where, can you teach judgment? Can you teach discretion? As much as we all want to be mechanical, there's some art that goes into trading. So is that something that you feel can be taught, or, how do you approach that type of person?
Yes, it can be taught. I've taught it to many people. The typical engineer type person, mathematical type person, if they are willing to work with someone like me, they will get over that hurdle. But if they are the kind of person that wants to stick to the books, stick to the technique, stick to the strategy, and they will never get to the point of opening up their creative mind, creative brain. A master trader is someone who is discretionary, who lets that right side of their brain open up to meld it with the left side of the brain, because the average trader, this is very disappointing to people, but the average trader makes 25% of their account a year. Most people can't live on 25% of their account a year. Those people that go beyond that are people that flow with the markets, are in the zone. They have an understanding of the markets that it's just like watching. Is his name Len or Lou? Len in basketball on the New York Knicks. If you watch him, he anticipates where a player is going to be in such a way that I always say he would be a great quarterback as well. It happens so fast. If he has to start thinking logically about the percentages of a person being in that position, he's never going to make it. You have to be able to have your strategy, follow that strategy, and then when you get to a certain point, that's when the creative side comes in, and that's when you turn that 25% to 100 to 300 and more percentage. But if you're not willing to expand yourself because you're so stuck in that left brain thinking, then you'll probably never make it as a great trader. You can make a good trader, but not a great trader.
Yeah, I think those are great points. I'm sure some people listening, hopefully you're hearing this. We try to teach all the time something we call the art of trading. We say, you could be 90% mechanical. I've yet to meet anybody who's successful who's 100% mechanical. It's been 17 years. I'm still waiting for that person to, knock on my door. So you can get a far away, but you have to have some art, some instinct. We have something that we teach called even key level adjustments, which is those of you listening who know our systems, that comes up all the time. And some people absolutely hate that. They hate that we have to teach that and show that, because it creates such uncertainty, because it no longer becomes a mechanical rule. Even though you can make it rules based, some people feel like they kind of lose control. But I'm a big believer in just what you said, that the most successful traders embrace that, realize you just need to understand expectancy, what your odds are, and there's no rule that we're going to ever come up with that's always going to be 100% in our favor. We're just trying to stack the odds in our favor on any rule, and that's probably as good as we really need to do. So speaking of trading and trading in real time, again, it's a mantra of NetPicks. The entire team, myself included, we all trade live in the markets. Every day. We kind of think that makes you a much better teacher if you're actually really doing it. And one of the things that comes along with it, I believe in the book you talk about the, I'm not exactly sure how you stated it, but it was something like the 4 horsemen of the trading apocalypse. And it was fear, dread, anxiety, and nervousness. It's so hard to be emotion-free in trading. I've been doing it forever. I've traded tens of thousands of trades. I've had to call just as many. I got people relying on, our systems every single day. So I have my share of fear, dread, anxiety, and nervousness. I guess my question is, do you feel that, you should get to the point where you're numb to all that, or do you feel like it's something you need to embrace? What can we do to control it? I mean, I think it's something we all experience every day. So how do you deal with some of that? I know it's a loaded question, but maybe give us some tips on that.
Okay, first of all, when people say, let's take the emotion out of trading, actually, that's not true. You're a human being, you feel emotion, and it's a question of the right kind of emotion. I mean, if you see an opportunity, you're going to feel good. If you're making money, you're going to feel good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when it becomes an adrenaline rush and then you depend upon the adrenaline rush to give you the high for the day that it's not good. On the other side of that, when an emotion brings you to a point of stress within your body, when you constrict and restrict your blood vessels and you're not thinking clearly and you start arguing with yourself and second guessing yourself, that's when the emotions are not good. You want to get to a point, and this is like the ultimate of trading, when it feels uncomfortable not to do the right thing. Now, you think about things in your life that you do, other things like if you're a cook and you're putting a certain amount of salt and pepper and you're not following any recipe, you're just doing it. It will feel uncomfortable if you put a little too much salt. If you're riding a bicycle and if you turn the wheel one way and you turn too much, you're going to fall over. So again, there are many things in your life that you do automatic without thinking. You don't think when you're walking down the street to put the same arm as the same leg forward as you walk. You walk with the opposite arm and opposite leg. If I told you to do it the other way, it would feel uncomfortable. Well, this is the same thing in trading. You have to get to a point that you're uncomfortable when you're not following the rules that you have put together. And you can only get to that level when you are consistent about following the rules over a period of time, and it becomes implanted in your system as a conditioned anchor of response that it becomes your neurology will respond in a negative way if you do negative things. Again, this only comes from experience. It only comes from repeatedly doing it the right way. And then once you get to that point, then we can take you to the next level, which is, the mastery level. But when you get those emotions, usually, and let's say you've been a consistent trader, when you get those emotions, it's usually because physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you are off kilter. You went to a party the night before, you drank too much coffee in the morning, you didn't get any protein, you just had a fight with your wife or your boss, and something has upset you. You have a cold, you have the flu. Those things put in with a consistently good trader will upset the apple cart, and that's when you can make a mistake. And when you do that, before you do that, you're going to feel the fear come up because your whole your whole feeling around you, that your whole system is not going to support you in being consistent. So to recap, you have to learn to be consistent, and you have to recognize when a day is not quite right, and that's the day that you risk the least amount of money, or you don't trade that day. And when you do that for a period of time, then you can start to trust yourself to making the right choices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that, obviously you can't just drown out, that feeling of anxiety or fear or dread. I do feel that some people try to teach that, and I'm sure there are some people who literally can turn it all off. Maybe they're psychopaths, I'm not sure, but it's really hard just to completely eliminate all of those emotions. It may make the best trader if you can, but I would say that's 99% of the people can't, do that. So we just try to tell people it's kind of about like balance. So when things are going well, don't get too excited, don't get too enthusiastic, because when things aren't going so well, the opposite is just don't get too down. My thing is always, did you follow your plan? Did you execute correctly? Win or loss, pat yourself on the back, congratulate yourself. That's all you really can do in trading with the trading system. The thing I get down about is mistakes. Those to me are unacceptable, because I don't think any of us have enough of an edge in our trading to make very many mistakes and still end with a positive. But when it comes down to it, win or loss, as long as you do things right, like you mentioned, to the trade plan, then at least you can have that level of confidence. It kind of reminds me of another thing that I know I run into even recently. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, before you go
please.
on, because I was waiting for you to get to another subject, but I wanted to make a point here. You mentioned the type of person that can turn off their emotions, their negative emotions. Turning off negative emotions will build up what is known as emotional repression. And those type of people that can turn off their negative emotions when their emotions are there, what will happen is over a period of time, they'll get to a point, they'll be like a pressure cooker, and they'll make money, and then boom, lose it. Making money. So it's not a question of turning off your emotions. It's a question of doing what's necessary not to have those emotions in the first place, and that is being consistent, knowing what you're doing, and getting that anchor and knowing to when not to trade. Now you can go on. I had to say that.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I think what you're telling us is some of those real feelings of emotion that sometimes feel so negative, they actually probably can do a lot of good as well. Because I know later on we'll talk about it here in a bit, talking about greed and how people, they make all this money and then they blow it. They make all this money and they blow it, and that's also a bad cycle. But as we were talking through this, I was thinking a little bit about again, sort of the emotions of trading. And we all love, as day traders, to quit the day ahead. I mean, there's probably not a greater feeling. Like, I'm thinking, like, even personally myself yesterday, I had a very good trading day. I got to be honest, I mean, I felt a heck of a lot better all day than I did the day before when I ended negative. I think that was Friday, my Friday session, which is always, not the funnest thing in front of a weekend. And it's amazing, again, after all this time, still, there's such a difference between the two. But one of the things that I sometimes get lured into, and maybe others listening do this, is you're trading your plan, you maybe fight your way to positive, you're not done on the day per your rules, but you decide to quit because, man, it feels so good to be positive, especially if you had to fight your way back. And I remember doing this a few days ago, and one of the people on my trade team here was like, well, Mark, wait a minute, if we were losing right now, you would finish your plan. You would never quit early. So why are you quitting early? And that day I actually quit early. I felt pretty darn good about it until later on in the day. I went back and saw if I would have kept going and finished my plan, I would have had that much more, in profits. I mean, I guess I'm asking, how does somebody deal with that we have this kind of temptation to cut our potential short, but then on the other side of it, we're all willing to go to the end, to the wall, on the loss side to get back to positive.
Well, that should be in part of your business plan and part of your contingencies. If on a certain day, certain parameters happen, I give myself permission to take off the day. If certain parameters happen, I give myself permission to stay longer. I had a trader that I worked with about a month ago, and we went over his rules, and he had made, like $10,000 that day. And he wrote to me, he says, is it okay if I don't follow my rules today and not do the extra hour because I want to take out my grandson? I said, no, it's not okay unless we change the rules, and I give you permission to change the rules. We can't change the rules every day, but when grandson is in town, and you have had a good morning and it's a Friday, it's okay to take grandchild to the beach, So you have to be very specific about, sometimes we need to to stop trading in a day, if it's a good day or if it's a bad day. But those have to be clearly defined within your business plan, within your rules.
Yeah, we have one of our coaches, Mike Rixey. I always love that he did this. I wish I had this kind of self-control, but he grades himself every single day. And I forget exactly which grade. It may be B minus or C plus, but if he scores that or lower, he's extremely honest with himself. He will penalize himself and not allow himself to trade the next day. And it's an incredible, incentive and motivation to do things correctly. Plus, he tends to avoid these kind of funks that we sometimes all get into, these streaks of bad performance, because we start to unravel a little bit. And I wish I could do it. I mean, I'll be honest, if I'm around and I'm here, I just kind of want to trade, but I think it's a great way of doing things. I mean, I think there are times where, you should stop, like you say, a Friday afternoon or a Friday, ahead of a weekend. You got to understand yourself psychologically over a weekend. You don't have the chance to redeem yourself for 2 or 3 more days. That might be the time, right, to ease up a little bit. Another question I would have for you on, let's say you experience like this terrible day, it seems like everything goes against you. When you buy, it's a high tick. When you short, it's a low tick. You stop out on the high tick. You stop out on the low tick. I mean, we've all experienced days like that where it literally feels like it's a conspiracy against us, like there's somebody on the floor who's watching every order that we place, and we're so mad and dejected and negative. It's hard, especially for a trader with intermediate experience or less, to pull out of that and to come out swinging later or the next day. I mean, do you have any suggestions, either even if it's external things outside of trading, what can somebody do to kind of just roll with that a little bit and move on? It's sometimes very difficult for people.
Well, part of the problem is people look at it. It's such a short-term picture of their success. I mean, if you're looking at a one trade as being your success or failure, you're going to feel up and down all day long. If you think of it as a day, if you think of it as a week, what happens if you put that scenario in a picture of a month? In a month's time, you'll have many, many days, hopefully, that you'll be up, and then you'll have this drop in the bucket where everything seems to go wrong. Then it's not quite as overwhelming. A long time ago, it was probably 25 years ago, I made about $140,000, $50,000 a year working a 4-hour day, being a sales broker of integrated circuits. And people next to me made like $30,000. And the difference was I was willing to look at the bigger picture. I would get 48 no's average to get 2 yeses to make that kind of money. Now, the other people looked at the smaller picture of what they did during the day, so they wanted a lot more yeses. So they worked with small companies that would give them yeses, that would give them small sales. Whereas I wanted to work with Hewlett Packard, Hughes Aircraft, Lockheed, and I wouldn't get very many yeses, but the yeses I got would make the big difference in the world. So the bottom line is, look at a bigger picture instead of looking at that one day that has gone wrong.
Well, it kind of leads me to think a little bit about it's almost like an exercise in self-sabotage, because you focus in on that bad day and that one bad decision, and it leads to another bad decision and another one, and it's like a cycle that becomes really hard to break. I guess a question for you is, and gosh, I see this all the time, why do people sabotage themselves so often? Maybe in life, but certainly in trading, where they're trading a system that works, they're smart people, they seem to work hard, they are capitalized, yet still you teach one person they're successful, and this other person who seems like they should have it together, just at every turn, it's another series of sabotage. I mean, is it their past? What is it about some people that happens?
Now, that question is a difficult question to answer, only because I've taken 13 books, 12 webinars, umpteen CDs and DVDs to answer that question. So I write for 4 newspapers and magazines at present. Used to be 7 newspapers and magazines, and I'm still coming up with ways people sabotage themselves. Okay, that is it in a nutshell. But let's get more specific. People sabotage themselves as a result of how they've lived their lives, their beliefs, their attitudes, their values, the decisions they've made in their life, the way they have programmed their mind. They have programmed their mind through stories and interpretation of stories. That has gotten to them to the level of success they are today. Now, you want to change that, you have got to change that programming. Now, if a person was told as a child, you'll never make it to anything, if you don't do what I tell you to do, you'll never be a success. Kids were thrashed with words. They went to school and all kinds of stuff happened. Or let's say later on in life, as a teenager, they were the one that they were the one that was the bully, or they were the one that was bullied upon. There's so many things that happen in our life that limit our success. So those things have to be transformed. Now, they can be transformed at many different levels. I'm talking to you, I'm giving advice right now. This is coaching at a conscious level. This is at a very superficial level. This is the level where a person takes my advice and then they go and do it. Now, there are some people out there that will just take my advice and go do it and make really big changes in their life. And there's the coaching at a subconscious level where you have to get to the heart of the issues. And that's what I do in my seminars and in my private work. And that requires person-to-person contact and feeling energy. Then there's the superconscious level and the energetic level and the spiritual level. Most coaches don't work at those levels. When you read my books, that's the conscious level. When you listen to my webinars, that's the conscious level. When you come to my seminars, that's the subconscious level. So if you want to get to the heart of the problem, first of all, you have to know that there is a problem. And second of all, you have to find out what those problems are based on someone who knows, like myself, through my trader's evaluation. It's a very good way of doing it. And I put that together mainly because I didn't want to spend hours on the phone diagnosing a person. Half an hour, they fill it out, and within a half an hour, they've got all the answers of where they're sabotaging themselves. So sabotage can be fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being wrong, conflict issues, belief system issues, attitudes, value issues. So there's just so many things involved in it. And I can look at a trader's evaluation, and this person is making $50,000 a year in trading. I could look at the same evaluation from someone else who's making $500,000, and they will answer the questions the same way. Sabotage will hit you at any different level. And the person that's making $500,000 a year, when they overcome their sabotage issues, can make $5 million a year. The person that's making $50,000 maybe will go to, $100,000 or $500,000. But when you find out where those problems are, and you're willing to do something about it, either with conscious advice or with deeper stuff, then you can take yourself and put yourself at a next level. But you have to be willing to want to look into where these problems are, realize the problems are there, and do what it's necessary to overcome them.
Well, let's try to maybe flip it a little bit, because in one of the last sections in the book, you talk about the modeling of top traders and how that's so important, and you cover like education, time, money, energy, things of that nature. And then the subtitle of the book, which is cultivating a winner state of mind. So maybe like from that perspective, we kind of hear how deep the sabotage route is. Maybe as we kind of wrap up here, then work into some of the questions, let's just talk a little bit about what is it about top traders and what is the winner's state of mind and things that people can focus on that more maybe the positive side of the equation.
Well, winner's state of mind is a winner's state of mind no matter what you want to do in life. It is a person who, when they approach trading, from the start, they see themselves as a trader. They don't see themselves as becoming a trader. They see themselves already as a trader. They see themselves doing whatever is necessary, and they don't think of the hurdles because they know that they will incorporate the hurdles along the way, lessons along the way in the process. They enjoy the process of becoming a trader. In fact, there are many traders said that was the best part of their trading experience, because between the process and sitting down and making money and getting to the point of master trader, all of this is what a trader has to go through. If you become an Olympic star, again, you have to go through an enormous process to get to the point of being that Olympic star. So many people look at trading, excuse me, as sitting down at the computer and making money. And if you see yourself that way, you're probably not going to make the same kind of money that a person who comes into the business and says, I love every experience. I love the analysis. I love putting together the plan. I love every single part of it. So the winner's state of mind, each step of the way, each task that they do, they see themselves as a winner, because if they can't do it themselves, they'll find someone that will help them do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. I think, as much as when you break down trade psychology and all the emotions, a lot of the discussion has to be, in a way, it's some of the negatives, and I think it's a good end to the interview here, but also to the book, because I think it is so important to also think about who are the people who are successful, how have they become successful, what can you do to kind of model your behaviors, after them. I mean, you got to acknowledge your weaknesses and overcome those, but there's some real behaviors that, the best people, even that we've encountered over the years, we sometimes know almost right away that, hey, this guy or this gal, she or he's going to be really successful. You can just kind of tell because they kind of follow that same formula. So this would be a good time, if you have questions for Adrienne, to go ahead and put those into the chat. I also know, Adrienne, you had wanted to give out a little bit of information. Do you want me to hand off the presenter to you? Did you have a slide that you wanted to show?
Please.
Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. And Adrienne's going to go ahead and take over the screen here, and you guys can start to put in some questions. Okay, great. So we do see your PowerPoint there. So go ahead.
Well, let me go to the next slide if I can. Great. I have a whole course. Now, you saw Trading on Target, and that you can only get from Amazon. You can't even buy it from me. An interesting thing about that is that I was writing Winning Edge 5 when Wiley came up to me and said, we'd like you to write a book for us. And I said, well, I have the book written already, Winning Edge 5. And they said, no, we don't want to call it that. We want to call it something else. So they called it Trading on Target 5. So Winning Edge 1, 2, 3, 4 that you see in the background here are part of my course. And each chapter is self-contained to give you a lesson in trading. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being wrong, all the fears, all the sabotage issues. Now, on my website, you're going to find that this is $650. I don't show any specials on my website. I'm going to offer something that is very unusual. If you are interested in this course, and this has the evaluation and consultation with me, it has things to wake you up in the morning, things to put you to sleep at night. It has a life plan. There's just so much material. You're not going to believe how much material there is. If you're interested in this and you want to know what the special is, because it's going to be a special that's extra special, Normally I give $50 off when I do webinars, but I'm going to do something really, really special. If you're interested, just send me your phone number or call me up on the phone, and I will tell you what the special is, but I will not put it in writing because I sell this all day, all night at $6.50. Now, there are 6 packages that come within the course. The first package has the evaluation and consultation with me. Normally it's $150 online. Normally I give $25 off this package. The extra special, you have to give me your phone number and or call me up, and I will tell you what the extra special is. I'm only going to show, one more thing, and that is the Top Performance Seminar. This is for people that really want to go deep stuff. My March seminar is full. The June seminar has 2 people in it. I close it off at 8 people, so it's semi-private. If you want to find out more about this, I could send you a flyer, or you can call me up and we'll talk about it. And this is how to get in touch with me. Okay, I did my commercial. Now you could ask questions.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Adrienne. And just so everybody knows who's listening, we've always asked, when somebody comes into this, they don't give us, we're not asking for anything. We don't take any commissions. We always want them to give you guys listening the very best deal possible. So that's the case as well here. So take advantage of that if you're interested. So let's go to the questions. Bruce earlier on was talking a little bit about, he says trading, it's like golf. The big players have a great short game. I take chips at the market, so I guess that was more of a statement, but it's actually a very good point. I think, Bruce, what you're saying is, sounds like you approach each trade kind of on its own, not looking for the home run on a single trade, and just take chip out of the market. Todd R is asking, how does one start with you, and what is the average length of time? So this might be, we kind of have the how do you start with you, but what is the average length of time people spend working with you? So maybe kind of touch on, that.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the golf. I've actually worked with 5 top golfers, and I work with them the same way as I work with traders. I just talk about different stories, and I'm not a golfer. The way it works to start with me, some people will start on the course, and that's a really good way of starting, because then you could do the evaluation and I can tell you where the problems are, and maybe the course is all you need. And then there are 2 seminars, main seminars I do, the Top Performance Seminar and the Intuition Advanced Seminar. The Intuition Advanced Seminar, you have to be invited and you have to have taken the Top Performance Seminar, because I want people that are already making money, and when they finish with it, they're already going to be at the level of master trader. The private work, I only take private people on. I take a lesser amount on every year. This year it's going to be 14 people. The next year it's going to be 12, 10, and so on. I want to work with people that I know can make it to the top. I use certain criteria for working with people. That they have to have shown discipline in their life. They have to have the strategy, a system or methodology that would work if they could follow it. I don't want to work with someone that is a beginner as far as the private work is concerned. The beginner or the medium, the person that's not making money yet, they can go through my books and they could go through my seminar. But in private work, I want to take a person to the top. So I have to like them. They have to like me. It's very intensive. So the wonderful thing about the private work, it's 2 days with 6 months follow-up. The follow-up is either by emails or on the phone. And some people don't need any follow-up, and some people, need to talk to me every day by email. And it's quite intense, and I'm there for you for each next new level of success. If you want to find out more about it, you can give me a call. You can write me an email. I answer my calls myself. I don't push it on to my assistants. And as far as emails, I answer them as well. The private work is $7,500. The The seminars are $2,500. Actually, the advanced seminar is $2,700. And the earlier enrollment, of course, you get the biggest special. And I can tell you the special for the June seminar is $2,200 at this moment. I think that's enough of a commercial. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you the commercial.
Sure. So Sean's asking, how important is our self-talk, internal conversation with ourself?
Absolutely, extremely important, because what you say to yourself forms who you are, forms the level of success that you'll have. So what you say outwardly and what you say inwardly. You know, a lot of people, they will put on a beautiful smile and they'll say wonderful things outwardly, but they're criticizing themselves and other people on the inside. You have to learn to go cancel, and replace it with something else. If you have too much self-talk, that means you have too much stress.
Great, thank you. Ken is asking, when I'm forming a trading plan, do I start with one setup, an ad, or a bunch, and try them all at once? So I'll answer real quick, and then we'll see what Adrienne says. And I would always tell somebody, you start with one. I always tell people, start with the smallest account possible, demo, of course, if you can. Even if you've got $100,000, trade one contract. Because if you can't do it with one market or one contract or one of anything, there's no way you're going to do it with a bunch. But I don't know, Adrienne, what is your opinion on that?
I absolutely agree. The one thing, one caveat is that very often people in simulation will trade 10, 20, 100 contracts, and then they'll go into real-time trading. They'll trade with one contract. And you have to trade. Whatever you do in simulation is what you do in real time. You don't say, well, but I really want to make this kind of money. I want to see what I could do here. No, you have to get your neurology ready for what you have practiced.
Great, thank you. Jack's asking, saw in your book a chapter about the rite of passage. Can you give a few words on that part?
Oh, I can't remember what I wrote, but I will answer it as best I can. There is a place and time for you to get to each level of success. And too many times what people will do is try to jump the gun. They will try to go and they say, oh, I see this set of strategies. All I'm going to do is follow this set of strategies and not have a business plan, not do the simulation. After all, it is trading, and I'm going to fail my way to success in learning to do it that way. Yes, people have done it, but people have also won the lottery. You have to take it step by step, and the steps are basically you have to know the markets, you have to know the particular strategy that you want to do in your markets, you have to put together your business plan, and with everything that can go wrong and right and your best possible outcome. And if you don't have a business plan, in my course, I've got a business plan. It took me 12 years to put it together. And all you have to do is fill it out, and you'll be a better trader just by filling it out. So you want to, and then you have to trade in simulation, do some back testing, do some forward testing. And if you can't trade that way, I mean, at that point, that's the first part of rite of passage. If you can't trade that way, then you have to take care of your psychological issues, or else you're not going to be able to trade when you trade real time, because some magic doesn't happen as a result of trading real time if you've not been a success at simulation. You have to be a success at simulation before you can go on. And then there's a rite of passage from there to being the average good trader. Then there's a rite of passage from being the average trader to the master trader. So you have to take these steps. You can shorten the steps by working with people like Mark and having the right kind of mentors. But if you don't do all of these steps, then you're going to have to go back in time and redo those steps to get to the next rite of passage.
Yeah, I think those are great points. I think what a lot of people do is, and they hate when we tell them that you have to develop this big business plan and this trade plan. It keeps you away from the markets, and we all want the excitement of trading live. And one of our coaches years ago, Jane, she had a rule that she had to make 25 successful trades in simulation in order to graduate into live trading. And it wasn't that you had to make 25 winners in a row, because who's going to do that? I mean, it's going to be that once in a trading lifetime experience. But her point was 25 trades following your trade plan exactly, win or loss, graduates you to the next level. And anybody that we've told that to who's actually followed it has, one, saved so much money, because everybody thinks that they're ready to go live, and they're simply not. And if you'll just force yourself just to do those 25 perfectly, first, it's going to take you a while. But if it takes you a while, just think about how much money you save that you would have blown in the market if it was real fun. So I would agree that rite of passage, you've got to go through the preliminary steps. Remember, we mentioned modeling top traders. I guarantee you this is where most top traders started. This is something that they've done, the process that they've gone through. So Adrienne, I guess with that, I think we've gone about the hour. I really do appreciate the interview. It was super fascinating. This is such a critical topic to cover. So if there's any closing comments you want to make, and then I'll kind of talk to people real briefly about the next webinar that we have coming up.
Well, I see somebody said, is the evaluation a part of the course? Yes, it's a part of the course, and it's part of the first part of the course. The only thing I'd like to say is if you would like to call me up, you could do it. Realize I might get a few calls in a row, but the best thing to do is send me an email at adrienne@tradingontarget.com with your phone number and the best time to reach you, and I can call you back and tell you what the specials are. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Adrienne. And just to let all of you know, the next interview we have like this is set up for perfect timing, April 3rd, coming up on tax time, and it is with Robert Greene. So those of you who we get questions all the time on taxes and trading and how to do it, structures, entities, etc. We're not CPAs or experts on this by any means, but Robert really is kind of one of the foremost authorities in this area. So I highly suggest the timing is perfect, whether it's to set something up for 2012 or to go back and do what you can for 2011. We wanted to get this in before the April 15th filing deadline. So you've got your link there, netpicks.com/taxes, and we'll definitely see you in that interview. And I think we're going to have Brian Short, my partner, will be interviewing Robert during that as well. So again, thank you everybody for listening. Hope you got something out of this. Make sure you contact Adrienne if you want to investigate this further. Don't forget the book on Amazon.com. And then, of course, if you need to get a hold of us for any reason, all our usual ways, email, phone, website, we're here for you. Definitely want you all to be successful traders. And I hope you enjoy the interview. Everybody take care. Great trading. Have a good rest of the week.